Oh, Nancy from Texas is here.
Right. Hello, everybody. We have, yes, Nancy from Texas, Teresa from Alberta, Canada. Hello. And Karen is in the chat too.
Yay.
Hi, everybody. I think we have already like 20
Nancy
people
from
with us.
Texas. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, let me mute that. All right. So today we're going to be talking all about washi paper. We're going to do a deep dive. Karen's going to show you a bunch of our different washi papers because we have so many. And washi paper, for anyone who is unfamiliar with it or hasn't used it yet, is Japanese paper, also known as rice paper often. So it's a very traditional Japanese paper and is very unique compared to, say, like cotton, watercolor paper, some other papers you might have tried before. And so in today's video, we're going to be seeing different kinds of washi paper and how they take different mediums. And as always, ask your questions in the comments. I'll answer in the chat, or we'll read your questions out to Karen so she could answer or show us anything over again. And we're also going to try and show the paper on screen as well as have the name of the paper on the screen because there's going to be a lot of paper in this video. So we'll try and make it clear so that you know which paper is being used as the video moves forward. So that's it from me. I'm going to hand it over to Karen, and thank you everyone for joining us. Teresa, Marie, Janet, Jean, Kitty, Kitty, hi Kitty, Evelyn,
Hello.
Patricia,
Hi.
Jan,
Hi,
Laura.
everybody. So,
Yes,
yes.
all our
Okay.
friends are here. All
This
right,
is
thanks, Karen.
exciting. Very exciting. All right. I just actually pulled out my other paper. There's a paper that I forgot, but I'm pulling it out of my little stack here just so you have it. Just going to grab a fresh pad. Just a moment here. Okay, there, I got it. Now we're good. I'd forgotten for that moment. Okay, so we have lots of stuff to cover because washi, as you might know by now, is the word for paper in Japanese. So over the years, we always called it rice paper, and we're getting away from that. And so it is washi. Hi, Melinda, June, Destin, Florida. Oh, I would love to be there. So anyway, let me get going here on this. We've got lots to cover. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start with our basics. I'm going to when I work on the paper, I'm going to just kind of have it to the side so you know what I'm working on. Okay. So I'll put it in a frame and let me know if you can see that. I hope you can. Oh, let me I'll move that out of the way so I don't confuse everyone. So what we're going to do, when I've decided that it would make this an easier process for everyone to kind of absorb this deep dive, because it is a deep dive into the different properties of all the washi papers we carry. So you see there's quite a few. I've got these all divided up. So I'm going to start with the first one, and this is 6H. 6H is this one here. It's 9 by 12, 48 sheets. It is, it's used all the time. It's a very basic paper, but it's fantastic. And I'm going to give you, if you have a pencil and a paper handy, write down these things, or just keep a note of things that inspire you or the kind of things you're looking for in when you're creating. So wonderful. So this is you get 48 sheets, like I mentioned, and the way these come in a pad, like you just tear off the sheet, and it has a smooth side and a rough side. So the smooth side is usually the side you paint on or you print on, and the rough side is the side that you would do your gluing. If you're going to use some nori paste or you're going to adhere it to something or mount it on a substrate, that's the side you would do it. So this is the smooth. So always think the smooth side is the creative side, is the side you're going to be doing the thing on. So I'm going to keep this in the frame so you see it, okay? And then I'm going to do some little, kind of just some things. Now, when I'm painting with a washi paper, especially papers that are really highly absorbent, or I put a black I put a felt down below, just so that it doesn't soak onto my table, and any extra inks or paints will just kind of stay in the felt rather than just going everywhere. So I'm going to do two different things with this one right now. I'm just going to do some watercolor just to make it easy, and I also have some ink if anybody wants me to do ink. I do have ink, But what I always like to talk about is make sure your ink and watercolor are separate. Your brushes, your water, because the ink is so strong, it's gonna get in everything. So I'm gonna try to do this with the Gansai watercolor because you'll see, this won't be a side by side yet. I'll just kind of, I'm gonna go through it and play. So I've got a fusion brush since I'm gonna be using it with the Gansai watercolors, but I could also with Gansai watercolors use a Japanese brush or Chinese brush. But I'm just going to use this one for now because I'm not going to go into the inks at this time. So 6H, let's just paint as if we were going to paint. I'm going to do maybe, I don't know, let's see, what am I going to do? I'm going to use this as my little palette because I need to kind of make a wash of color. And one thing that's beautiful about this paper, and I'm going to explain this, is when you're working on this, you can do some effects that are really interesting. Like I'm going to dip this in blue and I've got a pretty saturated amount of blue, and then I'm going to just tip it in black. Now, this is something you wouldn't really want to do with your Western papers, with sized papers, but this is really kind of interesting. So I'm going to just show you a stroke, and you can see that, I love that. Look at that ombre effect. You see that? Try doing that with, we can't do that with with regular paper because it doesn't have, it just, the paint floats right on top and all these colors would blend all over the place. But here I was able to make this beautiful, looks like a wing of some sort, doesn't it? So I'm going to just take this, show you again what I did. I took my blue, actually I did take the blue and I kind of saturated amount of blue, but then I tipped it really dark into that dark, that indigo color. And I'm going to just bring this up like that. And I'm just trying to do maybe, I thought I was going to do a flower, but I'm not. Whoops. And just kind of playing around, but at least you can see what's kind of happening here, how that paper reacts to watercolor. So I'm going to set this over here for a second. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to take, because it's an absorbent paper, it's fairly thick. This is my favorite paper for gel printing, just so you can do gel printing, stamping, all kinds of artwork on it. But this is how the watercolor, how it accepts watercolor. And you'll notice a big difference in how it accepts watercolor. I'm going to do this thing again, dip it. And you'll notice just the difference. And I wanted you to see it. And if I could even get closer, I might even bring my camera down just a little closer to you. I'm going to bring it down so that's not too close where I hit the thing. There we go. Can you see if that looks better? I think it does. Okay, so since I'm using small pieces of paper today, I wanted you to see. So I'm just going to lay it on its side and I'm doing like a little kind of a twisty thing. This is normally I would be using a Japanese brush. In fact, I'll probably show you how it would look with a Japanese brush. You can see I love that. Now let me just do a simple stroke without any, without that little trick. I'll just kind of do a little bit here just to show you. So I've got this little bit of paint and I'm just going to kind of move it along. And it's got a little, it shows basically this paper shows every stroke. So that's kind of what's beautiful about it. So if I wanted to do like a bamboo or something, which I think is really fun to do, I'll set that aside. Not everything in this demo is going to be pretty, by the way. It'll be interesting. It's like play. And when you're doing these, practicing these strokes, you really, it helps you to loosen up for when you are going to do a larger painting. So let's say I want to do some bamboo. I'm going to take some of this green, and this is our Gansai watercolors, by the way. And I'm going to tip it in that indigo color. And I'm just going to take this brush and I'm going to do a little bamboo kind of thing. And just going to kind of do just a little like that. So there's you can see that ombre thing going on. Now, I'll show this same thing on sized paper and you'll see how it doesn't work the same. So now I've got this and I've got my little, I'll make like a little stem. And I'm just attacking this today very spontaneously. So you're welcome to ask questions. You can just, oh, and Stacy's here. Yahoo! I'm so glad you're here. And just ask questions. You don't feel, there we go. just kind of, yeah, ask questions because this is why I'm here. We're here to
Do
answer.
have a request,
Yes.
more than a question so far from Kitty. She was saying she would love to see inks on the paper too. And then I
Oh,
also have a little request. Do you think we could also jot down the name of the SKUs on the paper? Because I think things will
yeah.
start moving around.
Yeah.
And then maybe
Yes.
at the end we can like side by side all of the ones that you did.
That sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to take this is 6H. I'm just going to do, is that readable? I hope it is.
It's
Okay,
perfect.
so 6H, there we are. I'm going to do one little thing. I love this. It's funny. I have my favorite brush. It's funny. I name it. I actually have it 4 leaves specifically because when with these kinds of brushes, like the Fude brushes that we have, you're going to find brushes will do certain things. Like, as you know, with your Western watercolors, brushes do different things and make different shapes. And this one is what I love for making leaves. So I just happened to jump to it. But I'm just going to do a little leaves. I might even add a little bit of gold to that. I know it's kind of a weird thing. Yes, and I will do some ink, Kitty. But just kind of quickly, it's been a while since I've done these, in fact, really a long time. So I'm kind of out of practice. And one thing about this kind of style, you really need to keep practicing. Anyway, there it is. Very simple. One thing I want to demonstrate with this also is if you're going to use a metallic paint, the metallic floats right on top. It's amazing. So this is our WC2, oh boy, I forgot. WC21660, I think, right? I believe it is. It's the
Yeah, that
pale,
one's gonna, I'll drop it in the chat. I think
yeah.
that's the 58 pale gold, but
Oh,
I'll put that in the
58.
description. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so what's going to be, since I'm doing this through, we'll see what happens when I do it on the wet, but what is fantastic about this, you're gonna see how crazy that looks. You see how that gold just floated right on top? It didn't soak through like the watercolor did. So the metallics on these softer papers or papers that are unsized it's fantastic what you can do. And what's really cool is I have to show you if Terry is here. I don't know if you're here, but if you are, Terry O, we met with her yesterday, and she inspired me today to try splattering. I have to try this. I'm going to splatter some of this gold and kind of mix it up a little bit because there's an artist on Instagram who does a lot of spattering, Polly Hill, and it just inspired me to try some spattering. And this is going to look really good on this paper. So I'm just going to spatter a little bit of gold, kind of a mixture of gold and silver. Oh, yes. So you can see how that kind of floats up and looks really cool. So just, yeah, kind of showing you how sturdy it is. It has good wet strength. So if you were to wet this paper completely, you're able to work with it still. It's not going to tear that easily. Of course, the paper is more delicate when it's wet, so just be mindful of that. When it's dry, it's very strong. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to use a little ink now on the same paper, and I'm just going to pour some of this ink into my dish, if it will let me. This is an old bottle. Oh boy, is it old. Now, you notice on this bottle, all these little crumbs of whatever this is. This is the reason it does this. This particular bottle, the Y series, wait, KF series. This has a PVA in it. So that, you see that? It's like a little acrylic. I'm going to need to wipe that out real quick. I don't want to get chunks in my ink. There we go. That's enough probably for my demo. And anyway, the KY series does not have that, but I like using the KF because it has that PVA in it. I don't know if that's preferred. Some people may not like that, but I really like it. Now I'm going to use a brush specifically for my black. You can see it's my ink brush. I will not mix this with my watercolor because it would be horrible. Not going there. And I'm going to also try not to get this brush in my water unless I'm just going to try not to. I'll just keep it soaked with ink. And I'm going to just take a little bit of ink and I'm going to just do a little kind of a, not calligraphy, but maybe some assertive shape making. I'm going to make little, I don't know, what do you call these little squiggles? So you can see how clear and crisp that line comes out. I mean, just for mindful mark making, how wonderful that feels. if I wanted to do something a little more like oh, if I wanted to do a gradated wash, not a gradated wash, I'm gonna do, oh, no, I'll just do it this way. I'm gonna just lay it on its side and give you kind of an idea. If, you can do those gradation, if you were to wet this with water and then create the gray, the light gray, and then you can make that ombre look just the same. So this is 6H. Again, I'm gonna write 6H. All right, so we have 6H. And it has, if you really look at it carefully, you probably can't see this, but there is I believe it's like a watermark on the paper. You can see a little bit of a striae of a watermark, very, very subtle. I can see it a little bit better on this side. So in the manufacturing of this paper, there is there's a little bit of a watermark, and it's a good thing. It's actually good, especially if you're writing, doing it for writing. But there it is. There's the 6H in showing its properties and how it looks when you're doing ink. Oh, and another thing I want to show you is if you were to use a pen, how it would work. So this is with the what is this one? Detail Master. I'm glad this is the Detail Master. And you can see if I go fast, it works great. Now, if I hold it, it kind of soaks in. My phone is ringing. I apologize. I can't answer. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm pushing that and it soaks it in. So this paper, if you hold your brush for very long, it's going to um, it's just going to soak in and spread. And that's an effect you may like. But I'm just kind of showing you the different properties of the 6H. So let's move on to another paper. Unless you have questions on 6H, I'm going to move on to another paper. The other one is
We're
going to
good.
be.
Jan asked not super black question mark. I'm not 100% sure what that question is, so let us know, Jan. Unless that's the name of another pen product, maybe? Super black?
Oh, super black looped. No, this one is just this ink that I'm using is the KF2 series, if that's the question. We do have a Chinese ink that's it's a dark, it's a super black or extra black. So I'm going to move on to the next paper, and this one is called 6JM. Now, 6JM is quite a bit bigger. It's double the size, 12 by 18, and it comes 48 sheets. It used to be called Kozo, but it isn't really. It's made out of a paper pulp, just like this one. But there's a difference. There's the sizing is different, or not. I'm sorry, the sizing. The weight of the paper it's thinner. It's much thinner than 6H. It is still has that watermark quality I was telling you about. And I'm going to go ahead and mark the 6JM. Feel like I'm doing a science project now. So there, I'll do two sheets here, side by sides on this one, 6JM. Now, 6JM also has good wet strength. That means you can gel print on it. You can get it, rinse it underwater. I just started doing some cyanotype, and I'm going to kind of show you. I have to show you because it's so exciting. Cyanotype is where you put an emulsion down and then you expose your artwork in the sun. And I tested all the papers we have. 6JM does great with cyanotype, so does 6H. So, monotype printing, gel printing, stamping, like I said, you can put this through an inkjet or a laser printer. You just, as long as you cut it down to size, and so it's very versatile. So let me do the ink since I already have it here. And I'm going to do just kind of you'll see I can draw on this, make, nice little lines. As long as I go quickly, so the way this works, the slower you go, you can see it sort of absorbs, and then the quicker you go, you make a sharp line. And that's the beauty of this paper, because the way you kind of approach your creating is it's a amount, you have to know that the paint, if you leave, if you put the paper, oh my goodness, if you put the brush down and hold it, it's going to do its own thing. You see, it just made its own shape. And you really can't do that with Western papers. So, and the quicker you go, the sharper the lines. So again, you know, this is very similar to 6H in the way it absorbs the color. And I'm going to take this one and I'm going to show you the watercolor. So we've got 6JM. Oh, let me just show you that pen also. So if you're going, it's going to work just like the other one. So you can, if you go fast, you can make nice lines. It will, it's not, you see how it soaks through. But if you go slowly, those lines will spread. So this I would not suggest for hand lettering or calligraphy. You can do calligraphy in the the Chinese brush painting or Japanese calligraphy, but I wouldn't use regular handwriting. So if I were to do my handwriting, if I have any pause at all, which might be kind of cool, remember those dot I remember that lettering back in the day when you put a dot on the end. Well, you can do that with this. So you just hold it, make your stroke, hold it, make your stroke, hold it. You see, I'm able to make my own little funny little handwriting. So that was 6JM. This is for the watercolor. So I'm going to go and show you. Maybe we'll do a flower, maybe with some orange. And again, I can do this. I have some gold mixed with that. Now, another thing about this paper, it dries completely different. When you do the strokes, there's going to be a total difference in the way it's going to look after it dries. So I'm just kind of playing here, showing you this that it shows every single stroke. And I'm not using an Asian brush. I'm actually using my Fusion brush. But you can do, it will do this, it will work very much the same as your is a 6H. And I'm just going to put some little dots of metallic just to see if it floats on top. Right up here, just playing around. I'm going to splatter it because I feel like splattering. That was so much fun to do. Yeah, splattering. It's so pretty when you splatter this because it just goes. And if you splatter this with some color. So I'm going to pick some color. Oh, and then I'm going to pick some gold, kind of mix it up together. And what I'm going to get is a pigmented splatter. And what will happen is that gold will rise above the pink and it will leave an outline. And I don't know if you see that. It's very subtle, but I can see there is like a little outlined with gold with the pink. So that's another thing. Now I'm going to let that dry. And what I'll be able to do afterwards is I'm going to go over, do some mark making with a pen. But I'll do that later after this dries. One thing about these absorbent papers, and I'm going to talk about these throughout the demo, if you wanted to do a layer, let's say it's very absorbent, it spreads, but once you lay down one layer of watercolor, like a wash of watercolor, and when it dries completely, you can go over it with another layer and it won't spread because the paint has now created a sizing because of the gum arabic and the size and the product that's in the paint. So it's very workable in the sense is that when you do one layer, let it dry, you can do another layer. I think I'm going to grab another 6JM here so that I have it. And I want to make sure I paint on the smooth side. So don't paint on the rough side, paint on the smooth side, which makes sense, right? So if you're painting on a smooth side, you're going to get it easier. You'll have better success in the strokes. Oh boy, I need to clean my brush already. I should have gotten more water for sure. So this one, I'm going to do like I'm going to do it with a wash brush because I'm going to use a flat wash brush just to kind of show you what I mean. I'm going to grab the paint that's already in my tray just so I have it. Some of this nice purple color. Now these brushes don't hold nearly as much water or pigment as your hake brushes or your sheep hair. So I'm going to do a little wash here, just kind of show you the difference. I love the way that it just soaks in and it gives you this beautiful even wash. I'm just going to do this across a couple, maybe show you I'll do 3 different strokes here. Okay, I'll let that dry and I want to do some mark making over it so you can see what the difference is what will happen when I draw over it on the painted as opposed to the unpainted paper. That's kind of an exercise and I'm going to write down what this is so I know. It's on the back, but I'll also write it on the front. 6JM. I'm going to have to set aside to kind of come back to show you. All right, next on the list is we have which one is this one? Oh yeah, 6M. 6M is Mashi, and I'm going to show you the package. This is a paper that we have that's 20 sheets. It comes single sheet, not in a pad. It's 40 GSM, 13 and 3/4 by 10 and a half. So it's a very large size. You can cut it down. I wouldn't put this through a printer. All the papers I've showed you, 6H, 6JM, so far you can put through printers, both inkjet and laser. But this one I wouldn't do. This one is completely unsized. And I'm gonna show you. So this is 6M Mashi. I'll write this down. If I even try to write on it, it might not. It's all right. It does good. So I'm gonna write.
6MA, so sorry. We have a
Oh,
6M rule, so just in case.
6MA. Sorry about that. Yeah. 6MA. Let me just thank you for that. I'm so glad you're here, Phoebe, because I would just be doing my thing and I wouldn't know. So this one, I kind of found out yesterday as I was working with it. And I'm going to show you an example of kind of how subtle and soft the how gorgeous these very spontaneous little flowers that I did. And I did the first stroke and then I let it dry. And then the second, like these little lines that you see, those didn't spread because the paint sort of served as a sizing then at that point. Same with this one. I splattered because it made me excited. I love the splatter. And this one, see how the gold just pops right on top of that. And I used a pen. I went fairly fast and I was able to use a fine tip, a detail master to create the lines. And I really love this paper. It is very transparent, so wonderful for collage if you're going to be using it for collage. But if you're going to be framing it or you want to have a little better background, you can mount this on either some museum board, you can mount it on anything like a Bristol board to make it more opaque and less wrinkly. And you can use nori paste to mount it. So you would just put the paste on the back and then put it on the surface and it makes a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of artwork. And you put it on cards or whatever. It's just fun stuff. So I'm going to show you, let's see if I got this one. I love this. I'm going to go to this pink color again. I'm going to try to make a flower. I'm going to attempt to make a flower. And this time I'm going to dip it in blue. And I've got the pink, filled the brush with pink. And I'm just going to do like a little, I'm going to just take my brush and kind of lay it and then just kind of do like a thing. You see what I just twisted it? And that's kind of the way these brushes are. You can kind of shape them by how you lay them down and move them around. They're amazing. I'm going to dip this a little bit of the dark, and now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to bring it this way and kind of lift it up, and it looks like a little, I don't know, not an eggplant. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm going to let it do its thing. It needs to just sit, and this is how the brushes are supposed to look. You can always straighten them out if you want with a paper towel. You can just take them and make them pointy again, but that's what I love about these brushes. That I see how it's spreading, and I love that. But when I do anything after this dries, it won't spread. So I'm going to take my brush. Oh, and I'm getting all the papers wet, so I'm going to move them out of the way. I'm making a mess. I always do. So I'm going to use some ink on this because why not? I'm going to just take this, I'm going to take this right down here, and I'm going to just do a little ink stem. And I'll leave that like that. And then after this dries, you can see the bone of my stroke, or the stroke itself is right there, and then it's spread out. But I'm going to make fun with that. I'm going to do something that's going to be kind of fun after it dries, but it's going to take some time. So I'm going to take that, set it aside. But you can see it is a very absorbent paper, much more so than any of the other ones. I'm going to set that aside and then go on to the next paper because that really can't show you much after that. Now we're going to move to the 6T Torinoko, and it is this one. It comes in a pack like this, 20 sheets, 9.5 by 12, 10 3/4, 80 GSM. So it's got a little more body to it. And when you hold it, you'll see the difference when I start to paint with it. So this one, and this is 6T. I'm going to go ahead and use my pen to wherever I put it. Okay, got to grab a different pen. So this is 6T. Okay. Now I'm going to do something, I'll do a flower again, and I can grab Western watercolors, which I'm going to grab these. Of course, any watercolor. It doesn't have to be this Gansai or these. It can be any watercolor. You can just, any water-based medium basically will work. So I'm going to take this, and I'll even show you if I take this one and then I'll dip it into a little bit of this purpley, this color. See, it made a beautiful purple now. I love that. And I'm just going to make some, maybe, we'll see, maybe a one-stroke flower. Maybe, yeah, why not? I'm just going to kind of do this. This isn't my normal, this I should have done on the absorbent paper. Did you see how it floats? So it's not like, this is more like a Western paper. It's a, there we go. There's a little flower. And now I'll just kind of do it like this. There we go. And then I could do cyanotype. It's a beautiful paper for that. So it has that quality of more of a resistant. It has sizing to it. So I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to show you another one. Let's see, we've got a few, and then we'll go from there. Well, any questions we'll have to work. We'll have any questions, we'll definitely, or anything you want me to try while I'm here. Now this one is the Mashi Hosho, which I did show you quite a bit about that the last a couple of times ago. So this one is 6 MAH, okay? And this one is like a cardstock. It is actually has a, yeah, it's sort of a double layer. It has a very smooth side, very hot press, and then it's got a rough side. The unique thing about this is that you can paint on both, you can actually work on both sides, and I'm going to show you the difference. This is the rough side, and this is the smooth side. I'm going to show you how, it's just different, and I love it. So this one, I'm just going to kind of play, I'm going to pick up some color. I'm probably overdoing it on my colors here, but that's right. And I'm just going to do maybe, I don't know, I'm going to make a leaf. I feel like making a leaf. And let's see, maybe some green on this one. There we go, like that. And then I'm just going to bring that leaf stem down. And this one, you can see it floats. There's no soaking through. It's kind of a cardstock weight almost. It's very nice. That's the rough side. So you can see, I'm going to put a little metallic in there and see how that looks. I'll just drop some metallic in and see what happens. It's just kind of beautiful, but that's a very, see, it's kind of floating and spreading on its own. Now, if I did this on the absorbent paper, it would not. It would sink or float on top, and it wouldn't do this. So but it's fun just to see the different things. Now, this is the smooth side. So I just did the rough side. I'm going to do the same thing with the smooth. Here we go. I'm going to do the same thing just to repeat it. I'm trying to do things that are just kind of relaxing and sort of in my memory so that, yeah, I'm just kind of being very spontaneous. Now, look, it floats a little bit more than that. It's just a different look. I'm going to go ahead. I was trying to do the same amount of concentration of color. And you can see the slightly different way that it takes the color. Oh, I just got ink everywhere on my microphone. Sorry, I hope that you didn't hear that because that was loud. Okay, I'm just going to do a little stem. And I'm going to try some splattering on this just to see what happens with that. Splattering with some metallics. And I'm going to have to show you some metallics that I got. And I know I shouldn't be showing you this, but I have to. I have my little metallic tray. I can pick out any metallics. I have to show you this because these are just some colors that I got. And I wanted to see how they look on there. So I'm going to spatter. Fun. Oh, yeah. Now this is like kind of sinking in a little bit more. This is the smooth side. Interesting. Now I look forward to doing some more work like with some ink over this, like some, what do you call it? Pen. I want to see how that's going to work. But you can see the difference. Look at the difference between the two. You can work on both sides. So I wanted you to know that. And let's set that aside. And now we are moving on to Asagami, my favorite, 6A. So 6A, Asagami, is also in a package like this, 20 sheets, 9.5 by 10 3/4. It's very thin, but very strong. This is like my favorite. It's my favorite paper. It is a great through a printer, laser printer. It is awesome with gel prints, everything. It's pretty much everything. Watercolor, it's gorgeous with watercolor. So, and ink, of course. So I've got my little Asagami samples here, 2 of them. And I'm gonna go ahead and put 6A on both of these. This is also one of those where you can paint to your heart's content. Ooh, did I put black in that? There we go. I'm gonna do like long leaves or something here. So I'm gonna just kind of make some grassy kind of long leaves here because I kind of want to show you so you can see what's happening. It's not soaking in. There you go. It doesn't soak in. And you can like work with them as if you had like your watercolors. So you can kind of go over it again. You can't do that with the absorbent papers. You can't, you can't. It won't let you. But with this, it does.
And
So,
by the way, Karen, that is 6 AG. Again, just to so
oh,
we don't confuse
thank
anybody.
you. You know, I have my memory sucks these days. So 6AG, 6AG. Short-term memory. Whew. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little of this gold while I can. Put some of this gold and see what happens on this one. So this one is going to, yeah, it's basically letting me, it just floats on top. It's not going to sink in. The color, the water isn't sinking in. So it's an interesting paper. I like it for watercolor. These watercolors are all done. I'm going to show you so that you can see them after they dry. These are with the 6AG. 6AG is just a really, you can draw on it. You can see I did some with, uh, did the first lay down of color, and then I did another layer, and I was able to layer over it, which is really good. And then I was able to draw without the paint or without the ink bleeding through. See, no, nothing bleeds through. So that is wonderful. Just like this one is a 6H, it bleeds through. You can see it does. So those are important features, and they're all very, you know, it depends on what you're trying to, what you want to do and what you want the watercolor to do because, or the water media. And this one, I'm going to do, what am I going to do with this one? How many tricks can I do with this one? Let's see. I'm going to rinse this one out and I need another tray. There we go. And then this one, I think I'll just do some kind of like a little bit of just a wild, not a watercolor flower, but just sort of a, yeah, just a bloom of some sort. And I'm going to put, oh, I'm going to put some of that blue in there. And I want to see how it spreads. I want to show you how it spreads. You could, you know, if you did this with 6H, it wouldn't move around. See how it floats and moves? And let that do its thing. I don't want to mess with it any more than that. And then you can, I'm just showing you, just going to kind of push the envelope a little bit. And I'm doing things I normally don't do, but I want to show you how you can go over it. That looks terrible, but anyway, it's okay. This isn't meant to be, I'm not making a work of art, right? I'm just kind of playing. Okay, now I'm going to show you how. See this? I'm able to erase. I mean, that, for me, but the fibers on this they're very strong and compact. For some reason, it just doesn't, you know, you're not going to rub it off unless you really scrub, but you don't want to do that. Now that it's wet, I'm going to just let it kind of gently dry. 6AG. Now, next one, because I want to cover them all. I have Usagami, which is 6U, right, Phoebe? I hope.
That's right.
Yay,
6U
I got one
Usugami.
right.
And I'm so sorry, everybody. I'll just mention verbally. We have a couple people saying the sound is cutting in and out, and then oh, now Kitty said her video is frozen. Again, I'm
Whoa.
so sorry. I'm checking our back end. The streaming bit rate looks okay, but if there's
Yeah.
anything, oh, right now it ranks as excellent. If there's anything I can do over on my end, I'll try and fix it. But sorry about that. Just wanted to acknowledge it.
Okay. Well, I hope that you're able to, everything is okay. So far, I don't see anything on my end. Like I don't see the bandwidth issue or anything, but you never know. Technology, right? So this is Usagami. And Phoebe, you are recording this, right? So on your end, if we need to, we've got a recording. So,
Yes.
and
Yeah, it's recorded and actually it's automatically saved as a video on YouTube once this live stream ends. So if there's a part you're missing now, you can find it again just by going back to the recording. So if that's an option for you.
Yay. All right, so I'm working on Usugami. Usugami is, I'm going to give you the paper itself. It is a tissue, very thin tissue, 14 GSM, so it's very tissue-like. This is my favorite paper for, now I've got a lot of reasons why I love this paper. You can inkjet, or I'm sorry, not inkjet. I don't think inkjet would work, but the laser printer, if you back it, I've shown people how to do this already. I think it's on a video somewhere. You back it with some copy paper with a little glue stick on the edge. You can put it through your laser printer. It's great for gel printing. It's great for all the things. It's strong. It has a wet strength quality as well. Oh, and it is 30 sheets, 8.5 by 11. So it's very transparent and translucent, but look at, I'm able to draw on it. Now, this is what I did this week, actually. All this week, I've been drawing little drawings, and I've been exposing the cyanotype. I've been laying the drawing over that cyanotype paper, over the emulsion. Oh my gosh, it works. So I'm using Sumi ink with the Usugami as the film instead of a plastic film. I'm using the paper, and I found just it looks fabulous. Like here's a piece right here that I did. That was a drawing that I did with the Usugami. So I just did all these little leaves, just kind of had fun drawing. And then now I have the drawing that I can use over and over to make multiple prints. And that's what's really fun about it. Same thing you can paint on this, just the same. Okay. So I'm just making marks at this point. I am just not even thinking about what I'm doing anymore. I'm just going to have fun making marks because I will probably go back to this at another time and do some other things. But when you're working on it is once it's wet, it's very kind of delicate. So just kind of be careful. You can do kind of this idea of, here we go, that ombre effect. Let me just do that in this one. Oh, why not? I'll just show you this one. You can see how I'm able to get that ombre kind of look. So I think, there's some really good things you can do with this paper. And I love it for collage. And then it tears beautifully. It pretty much disappears on the collage on the paper. If you don't, like if you're collaging and you have an image on top, the paper will pretty much disappear. So I'll set this aside. I know that's Usagami because it's so see-through. And then I'm going to make sure I get all my papers. Which ones do I have left here? Okay. We've got the 6G. Which one's that one? 6G. Gazen. Right? I hope it's right.
That's it.
Yay, got 6G. Okay, 6G. Now back to absorbent, but beautiful the way the colors lay down. Okay, so this one I'm gonna do kind of a blue. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna have fun here. I'm gonna just dip that in the thing here. I'm gonna do a little bamboo because I feel like bamboo for some reason because of the length on this. So I'm gonna lay my brush down. Now this one, no, this one is not Gazen. Which one is this one? This one's Torinoko. I mixed the Torinoko. Let me show you the difference. That's Torinoko, guys. Oops. Nope, nope. Gazen is not in there. Uh-oh. I'll grab some Gazen because there will be a difference. Okay, so I did. That one is not that's Torinoko. See how it floated? You do not want that. Let me grab the Gazen. Technical issue here. Let me just grab it out of my little stash. So what I did was I had this big stash of papers on my desk, and I thought I was picking up the Gazen, but nope. This one doesn't feel like it either. Where are you? All right, I'll find it. Give me a minute. We can leave put the music in the background, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm also gonna mention one of the people who was hanging out on our live chat was Stacy from Scrapbooking Made Simple, and she had to
Yes.
bounce real quick because she's off to record her own video for tomorrow because she does a special on her channel Saturdays with Stacy. She said she's going to be using our Detail Master pens, which you also were using a little bit here. So I'm gonna share the link for that too, but it's really fun. She does a thing every Saturday and she does different projects. So if you like this, you might really like to check out Stacy's thing too.
Fantastic. And Stacy has such great enthusiasm and she's so much fun. So yeah, have fun. Have Saturday, a great way to spend your Saturday. So Gasen is 6G, right?
Yes,
Right?
it is. Yes.
Yahoo! Okay. So I'm getting excited now. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do what I was doing. This is this is the true Gazen. You're gonna see a difference in the way it behaves compared to what the Torinoko, which that is Torinoko, I can tell right now. And I'm gonna just do a little bamboo thing here. See what? Look at that. See that stroke? How it just soaked right in and gorgeous. Oh, I love that. I love that. So it's a completely different experience. So you'll see this one does soak through. It becomes very soft when it's wet. So once you do that stroke, you don't want to go over it. You want to just avoid doing that because it will break down. You don't want to, you don't want it to break down, right? So you want it to be a happy paper. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit of like a little bamboo. I added some gold and I'm just going to go like this and put a little something here. And I'm doing this because I want you to see what's going to happen with the Gassen. The stroke is so exquisite after it dries. It's much more magical when it's dry. It's just amazing. When I can't, well, you'll see. It will show the nuances in the color really beautifully. And it's been a while. I need more practice. Oops, my bamboo is all over the place. Anyway, there you go. Not good. Anyway, doesn't matter. But you can see how it just shows everything. And then you can take, like if you have your ink brush, you want to make sure it's your ink, not your watercolor one. But you can actually use your ink and your excuse me. Excuse me. There we go. Like this. I'm going to mute myself for a half a second if I can. Back. You didn't want to hear that. Anyway, whew. So you can see how Gaussen takes the color so well. Now, you don't want to get this wet like it does. If you were to put it underwater, it would dissolve. This paper does not like to stay wet, so it does not have a good wet strength quality. So remember, if the Gaussen, it paints gorgeously, it takes ink, calligraphy. I wouldn't put it through a printer, and I would not run this water over it because it will just dissolve. So that's that one. And then 6 case, that's Kozo. Kozo is a paper that's highly sought after paper for painting, watercolor paper. It's unsized, 100% pure Kozo. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful paper. Comes 10 sheet pack. It's 58 GSM, 13 and 3/4 by 10 and a half. This paper is exquisite for watercolor painting and ink painting. Sume everything. So they're 6K Kozo. I've got them written down here. Of course, I think this one is harder to tell which side is the one you paint on because it really doesn't have, I can't tell the size, which side. I think I can paint on both. So I'm going to do a little bit. Let me see. I think I'll try. I don't know if that's my ink one or not. Nope, that's my watercolor. I was going to do, there's the ink one. I'm getting messy too. So I'm just going to do a little drawing. I'll move this out of the way a little bit. And I'm just going to do maybe another leaf thing because I love doing leaves. And you can see how I'm able to get like a very dry brush look, and it didn't really soak through, which is nice. That's going to be my stems. And let me see what I can do. If I can do watercolor, that would be fun. Maybe I'll use this brush and I'll load it with green to make the leaves. We'll see how it works. So I've made the spine or the stem or the whatever that's called. I'm going to try something I've never tried before. I'm just going to make a leaf kind of over it. Ooh, yeah. And you can see that the ink did not move. it didn't bleed. See how it just stayed? And that's just Asumi ink. Ooh, that's pretty. That's gonna be fun. So it's just basically, I'm just kind of creating a, oh, I like that. That is fun. That was my first time of trying something like that. That was really fun to do. Simple, simple. I'm gonna let it dry and I'm gonna spatter. I can't leave it alone. I have to spatter it. So I'm gonna grab a little gold. I'm gonna use this gold this time, this number 58. I'm just gonna hit it with a splatter, splatter, just to see. Ooh, yeah. Pretty, pretty. Okay. That's fun. So it doesn't really soak through as much, and it's really fantastic for painting. This is not good wet strength paper. It's very super delicate after it's been painted on, but once it's dry, I can layer, of course, and do other things. So I'm gonna set that aside, and I have one more. I think I already have this. That was the wrong Gazen. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to show you the layering qualities of some of these papers. Now, I'm going to go back to the 6H. Remember, isn't that color beautiful? Right, they're so pretty. Which paper was the last paper? I'm just reading your notes. Um, so the 6H, you can see now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to take, where's my watercolor brush? I'm just going to take this, a fusion brush, and I'm going to do a little layering using some of this purpley pink magenta thing here. I'm just making a kind of a purple tone, darker tone of this. And I'm going to show you how, now that I have done the first layer and it has some sizing in it, it should go on very sharp. I should get it sharp, unspreading line. See how the line totally, it's completely crisp. So I can do that. And that's what's great about these is you can start to build layers with this. And I could start to, there we go. I'm just making stuff up as I go. And you can also draw on, I'm gonna find my pen, there it is. This is the 0.1. That's a really thin one. So as I draw, I'm gonna take these, now that I've done my painting, I'm gonna take this black felt out of the way. Now I can start drawing. And I'm just gonna show you the different things you can do. This is like an abstract, I don't know what it look, bean pod mess, I don't know what it is, but I'm just gonna sort of draw. This is the one, the point, I don't know, this is the really the thinnest one. And if I hesitate on this, it's going to leave a little, it kind of spreads. So I'm gonna go very fast and I get those nice thin lines. And if I use a thicker pen, like let's see, this is the point. I'm gonna get a larger pen here. This is the 1.0. This is a lot thicker. So this one is 6H. I'm gonna even write this down, 6H. And if I go really, so I'm gonna push my pen down and see it's not spreading much on the paper that I've already painted. But if I put my pen down on the paper, you can see what happens. It spreads. So there's where you can, if you could, hope you see that. This, you can tell that it's not soaking through, it's staying crisp. And the lead, if I hold it, it's not spreading much. So that sizing really helps. And then these little sort of spread out dots, and I'm loving that because the longer I hold it or the shorter amount, it changes the size of the dots. Just kind of a fun thing. Let's go to one that's dry over here, 6JM. That one's dry. That one I think is a really fun one. I'm going to go ahead and get a number 3 detail master, and I'm going to start kind of just drawing a stem, and then I'm going to kind of go, and I'm going to make up some stuff here because there, like that. And this is just basically, you can, oops, look what I just did. It was wet on the inside. Now that wasn't dry yet, and see how that delicate paper tore? So that is, I'm cautioning you, you can draw over the painted as long as it's dry, because that just kind of, oh well, that's just life. But it's very strong once you go over it after it's dry. I really like that. Let's see. I'm gonna go to the Mashi Hosho on both of these, and I like this is where I'm gonna just go in and layer. And this one, you can draw. This is a lot sturdier. You can scrub on this one, no problem. And here, this one you can do the same. You can draw over it. You can also see, what was I gonna do with this one? I was gonna take a white marker and just do some mark making on top of that. And just see what I can get. All right, see how I'm able to pick up, pull out the lights. Same with this one, I can do the same with this one. I could pick up the lights if I wanted to. But this is one of my favorite papers to work with now, next to 140-pound watercolor paper. I love it. Now, these are not dry yet, so I can't really do anything with these. So I want to ask if there's any questions that you might have. Here, I'm going to do a little unconventional thing here on this. I'm going to draw on my bamboo. Never done that before. This did just need some help. These guys need help. These leaves need to look more like bamboo leaves. So I'm just going to kind of fake that I drew them instead. That's what I love about working with this paper. It's just so versatile and strong. Really, yeah, it looks better to me. And I can leave that alone or I can draw, but I'm just going to leave that alone. Any questions? Anyone have any questions? It's 3 minutes till. I can't believe it's been almost an hour. Oh, this one, I wanted to show you this one too. I'm going to do a little cross hatching. Everybody, hopefully you have good plans for this weekend. It's a holiday weekend. I'm going to go across and I'm going to show you what happens when you over the sized and over the unsized part. So I'm just going to do the same. Just going to draw over it. See what I can get here. Just kind of making some marks. And I'm seeing, actually, there really isn't much difference. Actually, in this one, I think that the wash was so thin that, yep, it just soaked through the same. So I have a little, sort of a mark, like fun little plaid thing going on here. Any questions, anyone? Because think I've done everything. I'm going to bring all these things and show them side by side. I'm going to try to move this out of the way. I'm going to move that out of the way. Everybody's so quiet today. Oh, you're so sweet. Well, AACC, thank you. Oh, thank you. I feel like I'm kind of sort of like going out there on a limb today, but I kind of felt like it was important to just be spontaneous and see what happens, especially with all these papers. I mean, there's so many papers to work with, right? And there you can just you can use this in a traditional way or a very non-traditional way. And you know what my favorite one so far is this one. It's just the most simple, clean, very unoverworked. Oh, you guys are so sweet. My head's getting big now. No. But this one I love. I think now that I have this piece of paper, I might cut it down and mount it on something. I just think it really turned out nice. And I may come back over it. I don't know. But all of these little bits that I'm doing, these little tiny bits of paper that I kind of worked on, this one is still damp. I think I was going to try to do a little drawing over it, but you look at you can see the bone, the stroke right in there. And this one I just think it's pretty as it dries. I think they look much more stunning after drying. And this one is 6T. I love that. See how that looks more like a traditional watercolor? And then what I can do with this one is add my bits of white, which I always like to do. Just a little highlight, or you don't have to use the white. You can use, you can use your metallic watercolor. You can use, anything you like that kind of creates the contrast. And that's what I'm kind of going for is contrast. I like this one is another one. I like that one. This practice, like within an hour, I did all this stuff, right? Now I'm gonna maybe find one or two things that I like, and then maybe a bunch that I don't. But it's really this paper gives you a lot of freedom to be creative. Unlike if you had a piece of watercolor paper, 140-pound watercolor paper, it's a little intimidating, right? You'd be like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to draw on that because it's gonna the end of that. So here you can see I'm just doing a little acrylic marker over this and some dots, just trying to kind of play, like that. And we'll see. I might use that for something. I don't know. So how's everybody doing today? Oh, the one with with the
Yeah.
paper. Oh, yes. Okay. This one, thank you for, this one is the Kozo. So that's 6K. And I'll write it down on here. I'll write it real small so I can, there you go. That is the Kozo
Thank
right there.
you. And then Peggy also just asked, which one was the three stems with the purple flowers? I
This
think that's
one,
Torinoko.
that is
Yeah.
Torinoko 6T. Yeah, isn't that lovely? Just like, and it was so easy. I just like laid the brush down and I didn't, here's the secret on this one. You don't want to, after you've done it, you're tempted, and I always have been tempted, and I've done it many times, where I'll lay the brush down, and I'll show you real quickly. I'll lay the brush down, and then I'll go, here's Mashi, let me show you. Then I'll be tempted to want to rework it because I see where it's puddling weird or something, and then I'll want to rework it. But really, the beauty of this one is you lay the brush down and you put it aside. Do not look at it again until it's dry, because it has a whole, it acts like a different, it looks completely different. In fact, I wouldn't be able to make those petals if I tried. I'm just going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to take some color. Let's see, I'll put some of that pink right in there. I'm just going to do a little, like, okay, here I'm tempted to, you're tempted, right? To just say, oh, I need to do something. Don't do that. Just do this. Like, load your brush up with plenty of color, make sure it's nice and loaded, and then just lay it down. And each brush that you own is going to do something different. Look at that. I love that. Let it just dry, and it's going to come out magical. It does its own dance while you wait. You just set it aside, let it go. It's not, you just let it go, and it's like, wow. This one has the ink. This is the ink one. So I'm going to put the little, oops, there we go. Maybe that way. And I'll leave it like that, and then I'll come back to it after it's dried and see what I have to work with. But that is, I hope that helped you today. That was fun. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Sorry, I am just typing furiously over here, so I think the sound's going to be a little crazy.
Yes. So
But
that
just
someone asked if this was 6T that I just painted on. Let me check. You know what? This is 6MAH. This is the Mashi Hosho. This is 6T, which they have a very similar property. This one is, they have similar. They're going to look very similar when they're dry. But I love the 6T and the 6A, the 6, well, Asagami. The 6AG, I'm going to find you one. Where are you? In my mess here? It's here. Let's see, where are you? There. I'm gonna find it in my pile here. Here we go. This is better. Just so you can see. This is the Asagami. And you can see how we can get these really great watercolor effects. Really magical, I think, compared to of the other papers. But each one has its own purpose. So yeah, if you were to vote, it'd be fun to see what your vote would be. Would you prefer 6T, the Asagami, or the more absorbent paper like Gasen 6H and 6JM? It would be interesting to know what you think. And thank you so much for coming. Again, I always am surprised at how many people are watching. I'm so glad. Yay. It's like a party, Friday party. And Phoebe, I hope yep, there we go.
yeah,
Thank you,
sorry, still
Phoebe.
typing.
Thank you.
So
And here, I'm just
a
sitting here. I'm
lot of
gonna turn my, unless you have other questions, I'm just gonna say, I'll just turn my camera around shortly just to say hello when you're ready to sign off. Only because, oh, someone says that they're confused about, oh, so yeah, Peggy says, I'm still a little confused, but love the paper that does magical watercolor. Oh, so hopefully, if you were to, I know I went fast, there was a lot of paper. So the two main takeaways I would say with this is you have paper that is absorbent and not sized, and the paper that is sized. Those are going to give you the most dramatic differences. Okay, so the absorbent papers are 6H, 6JM, and Gasen 6G, right? So those and the Kozo, those are going to absorb the color like beautifully, where you get these really gorgeous like gradations you couldn't get. These are like they soak right in, and it creates its own magic right inside the paper fibers. The papers like 6T, 6 AG, Asagami, those And those will actually float. And so the paint floats on top and does its dance on top of the fibers rather than inside. So I'm hoping that those two, that will differentiate. The other ones, there's a lot of differences between them, but the real two big basic takeaways that I would say is the absorbency or the non-absorbency. So, Gasen, you'll see when you see a paper that says it's sized or lightly sized, the paint should float on top. And if it doesn't say it's sized, it's going to be absorbent and the paint will go into the fibers immediately. I hope that helps.
Yes, and I'm gonna ask Karen because we totally understand it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's nothing like just playing with the papers. I'm
And
gonna
Peggy
ask
says she got it. Yay. Thanks,
Yay,
Peggy.
I'm gonna ask Karen to send me pictures of all the examples that she did today so we can have it. I'll put them in like one page, like a blog post with the static images so you can kind of see them all laid out side by side and you could kind of remember which papers you liked best and see them laid out. So we'll make something to recap all the information because there's so much great information from today's video, but we'll present it also in another way so that you can kind of get a little refresher that way.
I really like that idea. So they're not going to be pretty pic. I mean, maybe this set is nice, but then there's some that aren't going to be so pretty, but you'll at least see the properties as close up. I'll even do a really close up shot of it so that you can kind of really see it as if you had tried it yourself. I'm hoping that that will help. And then we'll just hopefully that this information you got the general idea and then going into the deeper dive by looking at the close-ups and in your own time and detail. You can just look on your own time and at your leisure. So I think that would be perfect. Thanks, Phoebe, for that idea.
Yeah, it'll be really helpful, I think, because you already just gave us so much good information. And there she
I have to
is.
say hi to everybody. Thank you again for coming.
Amazing.
My
Oh,
place isn't such a
Evelyn.
huge mess either. It's amazing.
Awesome. So, have a great long weekend, everybody. And like Karen mentioned earlier, we'll be back in a couple weeks with another really exciting live stream because we have friends at Chicard who sent Karen some goodies,
Oh
and
yeah.
she's been playing with cyanotype. As you've probably been seeing, we've been posting little teasers too. It matches. It's so good.
I know my shirt. I'm kind of so I'm on a theme here.
So we'll see you again for that one, but that's going to be a really good one. And thank you everybody for joining us and hanging out. And thank you, Karen. That was really
Thank you,
good and
Phoebe.
helpful
As
and
always,
good
you're
deep dive.
wonderful. And everybody have a good weekend, safe holiday weekend, and we'll see you in a couple.